What's up, Solar Warriors? Today is Tuesday, October 29th, 2024. My name is Jarrett McAllister, the virtual Solar Pro, and this is Tuesday Training. If you're watching it on YouTube, Facebook Live, subscribe, share, like, all those things. I'm alongside my co-host, Mr. Jonathan Branasso. Jonathan, good to see you, bro.
Good morning. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Jarrett. Welcome to all Power Warriors, Solar Warrior Tribe, Power Hitters. Everyone's welcome on this Tuesday team training. Throw in some love in the chat, where you're calling from, how long you've been with Power. But I'm excited for another training and a jam-packed week, Jarrett. We got World Series going on. We got um,
Someone off mute.
got people off mute. We got Halloween. We have a shareholders meeting with Jonathan Budd tomorrow night. So boy, there's a lot going on. Got to jump in.
There's even more going on than that, but we'll stay off of that.
There's a lot.
Let's talk about success stories, shall we? If you have a success story, we want to hear from you. So raise your hand, drop it in the chat, give you guys a couple minutes. I'll just quickly, while we're waiting, I got a success story. So I just had a lead that I've been working on this past week, and I priced them well. Came in, very competitive. I don't drop my pants for deals because I know my worth, and we have the best equipment, best warranty, all that stuff. And the guy goes, "Hey, your interest rate's a little high. This other company's offering me a 4.99." And I said, "Well, can you send it to me? I'm happy to take a look." So he sends it to me. And it's just the quote. I was like, "Well, where's the full system, everything, the price?" He was like, "I thought I sent it to you." And I take a look. Yeah, and it was like $15,000 more than what I was charging him. And so I called him and I explained that to him, and he said, "Oh, I see the difference now." He was like, "Yeah, go ahead and send over the docs." So got that one in the books. Nice little, 9 kW with a couple Tesla Powerwall 3s, and love being honest and transparent. I had to explain to him. I didn't say call it a dealer for you. I said, but what they're trying to do is get you to buy down the rate. And he's like, "Oh yeah, like a mortgage on your house." I said, "Exactly what you're doing. If you think rates are never going to go down, that might be a good idea. But how, depending on how things go here, I can see interest rates dropping pretty significantly here pretty soon." He agreed. So yeah, just want to
Nice.
share that with everybody. Just be open, transparent. Don't
Nice.
try to, yeah, don't try to do too much. Come in fair and you'll win every time. All right, Mr. Jared Foster, love to hear from you, brother. Good to see you on the call. What do you got for us?
Yeah, absolutely. Good morning, everybody. So I am excited to announce. So, when we talk about don't be a secret agent, this is a client I met on a plane flying back from Mexico City who lived in San Francisco. And we just installed an add-on system with a Tesla Powerwall 3 for them just last week. They're super excited. So we took on San Francisco and won. So for those who do San Francisco deals, you know what I'm talking about. And so anyways, it was super excited that we were able to get through that process. They're super happy, and we're rocking and rolling. And then later on today at lunch, I'm meeting with a brand new person I'm bringing on to the team as a lead gen. So he's out of Sacramento. So that's what we've got going on over here in Stockton, California.
Awesome. Great job, man. Dude, San Francisco deals can be very tough, especially when it comes to having to add batteries and the amount of space. It does not work all the time, and fire codes, a lot of red tape over there, but that's awesome that you were able to get that puppy in, man. So great job, Jared.
I wanna do a call out real quick on two things. Number one, a success story right here, Prosperity Homes this weekend. 20 Power Warriors and some corporate teammates are going down to build a home for a family in need. Work hard, play hard. And if you want to follow Prosperity Homes, I'll drop it in the chat. Some of the teammates like Benita, Rishi, Jonathan Charles Wilson, and a lot of new faces are going to go down and build a home for this family. just basically with the dirt and water and everything getting into their house. So we're going to build them a new home. Little success story there.
Love it. Love it.
All right. What else?
All
we
right.
got?
Anybody else would like to share quick little story? I know you guys are crushing it out there. What you got?
And if you're
Bill Conley going down, doing the impact journey. Incredible. That's a success story.
type it in the chat if you want any success stories. I think Tom Cotter is here to do a quote or thought of the day. Tom, are you on
Is
your
he?
world
Did he
travel?
successfully make it onto the Zoom?
Is he here?
I made it
I don't
onto the Zoom, guys. Can you guys hear me okay?
There he is. I saw. Are you in? Let me guess. Are you in Florida?
Nope. I'm on a ship.
Oh, okay.
Headed to
Making
Florida.
it across the Atlantic.
Yeah, we've gone like 5,000 miles so far, nautical miles. But yeah, had a little trouble getting on, but Starlink finally kicked in here.
Awesome.
I wanted to just share a quick quote from Jim Rohn. You know, if you have been in sales for a while, you've probably heard of Jim Rohn. But I ran across this quote, and I just thought that it was appropriate for us. We're doing this WeFunder campaign. We're post Power World in Orlando. I'm going to be back in Orlando tomorrow, actually. You know, industry-wise, I just thought this quote was appropriate for where we're at. So this is what he said. He said, "Let others lead small lives, but not you. Let others argue over small things, but not you. Let others cry over small hurts, but not you. Let others leave their future in someone else's hands, but not you." You know, if I want you to think about, you know, if you had a magic wand, what kind of schedule would you create for yourself? You know, if you had a magic wand, what kind of life would you create for yourself? Well, that's what you get to decide, because you're an entrepreneur. You're a business owner. You get to create whatever kind of freaking life you want for yourself. So quit letting other people decide for you. Decide and build something really cool for yourself, everybody.
Amen.
Thanks, guys.
Love that. Live the life that you want to live. Lead by example. Make it happen.
Dream
All the
big.
good stuff. You control your own destiny. So
All right.
true.
All right. Thank you, Jared. Thank you, Tom. A few quick updates, guys, and we're going to get to today's training. So today we're talking about enterprise. Next Monday, we are doing operations deep dive. You all got an email about that, and you can ask questions that you want to get answered. That's once a month with the executive team. And then Tuesday next week, we're going to have a training from SunGage, one of our best loan providers, and they might be announcing a contest. And then November 9th, Solar Saturday, Power Day, virtual. Some of us are getting together for watch parties. It's a 2-hour recording with massive announcements, but that is November 9th. Make sure to register. I believe it's being broadcasted in 3 time zones at 10 a.m. to 12 o'clock local time. The following Tuesday, we're going to have Solar Edge on this training and announcing, again, a possible contest. And then we're slated for a November 18th win-back campaign. Anyone that's ever been with Powur, Solar Pros, it'll be high level. I'll be running that with a few other people as well. Like I said, there's a lot going on. So tomorrow, there's a shareholders meeting for Powur. You can register. You got an email for that. I will be on to hear Jonathan Budd give us the vision of Powur, the future of the solar industry, the headwinds, and why we're one of the successful companies out there right now. And we're actually helping others in the industry like we're going to talk about today. So I know I'm missing some events, y'all. Hope you have a happy Halloween. Go Dodgers. But a lot going on. So make sure to take notes. And again, register for November 9th, virtual Solar Saturday. Like Tom said, there's probably a week or two left on the WeFunder to buy shares at discounted rate with Powur. So make sure to go to wefunder.com/Powur. And those of you that invest $500 or more can benefit from pins, shirts, swag bags, or even an all-in ticket to Powur World, which is probably a no-brainer at that one. So other things going on, Sales Success Lounge with Rachel, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. If you've attended, I'd love to hear what your feedback is, your thoughts, put it in the chat. How is that going? Because that is something new that we have going on as well. So if you could type it in the chat. All right, so today's training, we are honored to have our business development director, Brandy Anderson here, and we're going to be talking about Powur Enterprise. So I want to just set the stage for a second for y'all, because I really think this is important. The growth of Powur is going to be a lot of installers, enterprises, and sales orgs. Right now, more than ever, we're seeing some installers go bankrupt, the lenders or TPO providers, not paying them out, and they're getting caught in a tailwind. And when you look at what Powur can offer them, it's a lot of money and subscriptions and safety and legal and license and a whole slew of things. So the goal of today, especially if you're new, is just to give you a few bullet points on how to speak to a potential enterprise installer candidate, especially installers. And 60% or more of the solar market, guys, is made up of local regional installers. And so if you want to offer them a home, if you want to see a few slides of this new pitch deck, we're just going to touch on that. And then if you want to learn more after today's training, you want to talk to an installer, you want to work with your leadership, attend future trainings, schedule a call with Tom or your leadership or me, and then even loop in Brandy. We're going to talk about next steps, how you could incorporate talking to installers and recruiting into your pitches. So with that, Brandy, I'd love for you to introduce yourself, what you've been up to. I know you've had some massive wins and you have a pretty nice looking PowerPoint deck as well. So take it away, Brandy.
Yeah, well, thank you guys. Pleasure to be here. When JB reached out and said, "Hey, do you want to be a part of this?" I said, "Absolutely." Just honored to be with the whole team, jumping in here and talking not only about enterprise, but just talking about your guys' opportunity. As Jonathan was just saying there, the industry, I've now been in the industry for since 2004. So little perspective, that's not 2014, that's 2004. When I said that, they're like, "Oh yeah, 10 years, it's good, right?" And I'm like, "No, actually 20 years now." And it's interesting because the cycle of solar in the industry has been kind of the same. We've always been faced with headwinds on product. We've always been headwinds on finance companies and their products. And we went from lease and PPAs to loans to back to lease and PPAs, back to loans. Now we're back to lease and PPAs. And I feel like we're heading back towards loans again. It's really, really important to be diversified. And I think that Powur really does a really good job at, having all the tools, not only for a seller, but for installations, for installation companies. And I kind of want to share just a little bit about, the success we've already had and why that success is there. And so I'll kind of jump into that. But before I get in, I'll actually share just my screen. I wanted to just share, sometimes, and we're seeing that. Okay. Sometimes, so I'm gonna just show my calendar real quick, because I wanted to make sure that everyone is logged into and has the subscription or at least goes in and subscribes to our calendar. As you can see, all of them in blue, those are my meetings that I'm in, consistently, but in the, I don't know, would you call that salmon color? But we have an enterprise workshop that we'll invite any of you guys to every actually today at 2, and then every Thursday at 1 o'clock, and this is all Pacific time. So, and then all the other ones. But if you haven't subscribed, you can go into the Powur calendar, subscribe to it, and it'll just automatically subscribe to your calendar, and then you won't miss anything. So make sure you're on there. But I wanted to kind of jump in here. And guys, feel free, I want this to be kind of an open conversation. So if there's anything you guys want, clarification on or anything like that, feel free to jump in. And let me do this too. Let me just open the chat just to pull it over just in case I see any questions come in. But one of the things, being in this industry for 20 years, I've worked for some of the bigger companies. I've worked for small mom and pops, worked in manufacturing, had my own company, was able to successfully build that up and sell that in 2019. The timing was right. And then I went off and jumped into the side of the business I'd never been into, the manufacturing. I was working for Iron Ridge for about 18 months right before the pandemic. And so it's just kind of been all over the industry. And something that I've always seen is solar is very regional. And it's the success of it is based on whether it be ownership or management of a successful local regional area. And so, I used to sit at the table, multiple years, but I would sit at the table and sit across the table and see a company with the same product. And this is when I owned my own company, right? So in 2017 to 2019, I'd sit at the kitchen table and I'd be offering the same thing as Titan, right? I'd have the same Q-cell panels. I'd have the same solar edge inverter. I'd have the same racking, and I'd be offering pretty much the same financing. And they were coming in like $5,000-$6,000 cheaper. So I called the rep and be like, because I live in the Stockton area and we all kind of know each other, all the sales guys, I've hired most of them and they've all done different things. And I would call up a sales rep and be like, how are you able to offer this? I mean, are you just dropping your shorts and taking just a small commission? You're only making like $1,500 on the deal? Because I know what my commission on it is. There's no way. And they're like, well, this is the price. And I would see that, these bigger players, they had better cost of products because they were the behemoth, right? But they couldn't be as nimble as I was. And so we'd really try to sell the value of that. Well, this whole time I'd been hearing about Powur and what they were building. And about 18 months ago, I got an opportunity to come work here. And I found that exactly what I've always dreamed of is what we're now offering. And that's our enterprise program. The ability to make a nationwide, not only distributed platform, but almost like a co-op. Lately, I've been sitting with installers. And so what the enterprise program is, let me just back up a little. Most of you guys probably already know, but I know there was a few, people that are just joined. So the enterprise program is the ability to bring in, to build your own enterprise program in the seller side, where you can, build a network of teams and you can co-brand and just all these benefits of the seller. But for the enterprise program for our installers is that you can bring a local regional installer onto our platform that is wanting to come in and join the Powur platform because of the incentives and the product that we have to offer, which is lower cost of financing, lower cost of product, lower cost of all of the bits and pieces, subscriptions, and all the different features that you need to have when you own your own solar company. When I owned mine in 2017 to 2019, I was spending over like almost $9,000 a month just in subscription cost. That's everything, and I'll get into that in just a minute, but almost $9,000 a month that I was spending just to have subscriptions for all of my teammates, whether it be a designer, whether it be an installer in the field with site capture, whether it be, there was just a slew of all these things. And I'm like, man, just my operating overcost was so high. And so when I came to Powur, the first thing I found was the financial stability. So that's what I'm going to get into here. So just kind of give you guys a financial picture and health of the company and where we're at. We really are a company that decentralizes, but also supports sellers. all the O&M support, all the warranty claims, all the customer service, all of that is handled by Powur. We have a huge install support list or support team. When I first came into the company, there were 206 installers on our platform. And I had 6, so I came in as the director of install services over all the installers, and we had 206 installers, and some had 5 deals and some had 85 deals. And I had 6 inside sales managers, ISMs, that were managing 206 contractors, and we just realized this is too much. And so we did a massive, you know, as you guys that have been on the platform, we you know, reduced some of the installers we work with, and now we're bringing partners in that want to be self-gen, self-fulfilling. So that means they sell their own deals and then they install their own deals. And so I just wanted to clarify, to start off, what we're looking for on the enterprise program is installers. We want you to approach installers that have a sales team, because if you go and recruit them, there's overrides, right? On all their sales, and if they do their own installs. And the nice thing about the enterprise program is that we allow them to either come in and use all of Powur's platform and use all of Powur services, or they can fulfill and be you know, basically full turnkey, where they get to do 100% of their own work. And so the last thing I'll just hit on here is legal and O&M. That's a big one. That when I owned my company, we were doing about 75 installs a month. The only thing that kept me up at night, except for my bank account, and honestly, at 75 installs a month, we were doing really well. And we actually, you know, the bank account was there. It was full. It was doing good. But at the end of the day, I always worried about the O&M. Like, what's going to come back and haunt me in 1 year, in 3 years, in 5 years? Did the installer that was on the roof that I know, was he being lazy that day? Was he hungover? Was he being, you know, a bonehead? Like, I just don't know, because I can't be on every single install at every single time. So that's a big part of what Powur offers here, is the peace of mind that O&M and legal will be handled by Powur. Now we'll get into some other things as well on that, but that's really like the big part of what Powur has to offer here. Let me get back in here. You know, just a quick little update on Powur. You know, Jonathan, you hit it a little bit on, you know, there's a lot of companies. I mean, Jonathan, you texted me over the weekend that there was a partner that we've been looking to build the Pacific Northwest with. Dang it, they went out. Oh, it just kills me, because these are guys that I know. Those of us that have been in the industry for a long time, I hear it and I'm like, you know, they're at the beginning, when a competitor went out, it was like, all right, less people in the field. Now it's like, man, that really hurts the industry, especially in the Pacific Northwest, because there's not a lot of big players up there. But this is the financial health of Powur. You know, we've built a world-class you know, platform over the last 10 years. You know, we're financially solvent. We've got credit lines with partners that nobody else has, and we'll get into that as well. But it's privately owned. And so this is what I want to hit on. This is just a quick little clip that I made, because sales orgs are like the Roadrunner. They'll just go, right? And they'll go fast, they'll go hard, and they will build. And then there's this Wile E. Coyote, and I don't mean to, you know, there's probably plenty of analogies we can do here, but Wile E. Coyote always is the one that gets smashed, or he always gets fallen off a cliff, or he steps on a bomb, right? That's our installers in this market today. The moment sales has a little hiccup or does something, it really drives our installers right off a cliff. And we know salespeople, they'll just keep running, whether they got to take that to the next one or whether they keep those with power. Like, it's just what happens. And so these regional installers, they've got about a 2-month window. That's about it. And I'll show you a P&L. This is one of the companies that we just brought on. Great company, huge success, was in position to just go do some amazing things in some really good states. And this is their profit and loss statement that shows me exactly what I just showed here. They're about to run off a cliff. So this company, total assets, 307,000. Great. It's what we love to look for. They got about $236,000 in the bank, and their partner distributions, which that's the funding companies, right? That's Sonova, that's SunGage, that's LightReach, that's these other ones. They're owed $361,000 right now. Can they count that as money in the bank? Absolutely not, because they can't give money to a sales rep unless they have that money in the bank. So if all of a sudden those funding companies said, we're not going to fund anymore, they have $236,000 in the bank. That's a cliff. That's less than 2 months that they got left, right? This is what we see over and over and over. Most companies that I've seen their P&Ls, and I can tell you that almost every company that is on Powur's platform, we actually have them go in and submit their P&Ls, so we can just financially see, are we taking on a liability, or are we taking on someone that just needs Powur's platform to help them to grow? And that's really what this program is the ability to grow. So I wanted to kind of like paint the picture here, because most people are in this position. Now, we don't go into someone and be like, hey, give me your P&Ls. I want to see, what you're dealing with. Like, that's our job. But I wanted to like paint the picture of like, these are the headaches and the things that keep people up at night. $236,000 in the bank is actually pretty good, but it's not runway. It's not the ability to continue to grow. When they think, oh, we're at 75 installs and we got to get to 100 by the end of the year, they got to buy a truck, they got to buy more crews, they got to buy all the tools, they got all these things that they're always having to do. With Powur, we take out a lot of these, this money. The moment they install a job, we fund them, right? We fund them at install right now, and we are looking at ways that we can offer better products. The other part of this is every single installer, as we all know, they have to have subscription services. So we know most partners have a CRM of some sort, whether it be Zoho or all the different types of CRMs that are out there. They have to manage an Aurora contract, and they pay for a subscription for every user. Solo, for every proposal, for every docs pack, for everything, you're paying that. This is another CRM. You've got management of your different your different manufacturers. You got different finance partners, and this is most companies, they have 5 to 6 different partners that they have. Not to mention you've got CED, you've got Wesco, you've got BayWa. They've got all these distributors that they're trying to just manage, and typically that's the owner of the company is in there, where they're trying to they're managing that themselves. With Powur, you don't have to manage anything. We already have better prices and SPAs, or special pricing agreements, with our lender, or with all of our different partners. We've got these deals dialed to where we pass on the cost to everybody that's on the platform. So you come in for $350 a month, you have access to all of this. And so just kind of like pause right there. Like, this piece alone is a full-time job. Like, just managing all your partnerships is a full-time job, and you have to work with your distributors, work with manufacturers, and then work with the changes, and then all of a sudden you got domestic content coming in, and you got to make sure that you're using the right product, because these finance companies require that. Powur takes all of that off the table. And so your install company and Powur is a match made in heaven. One thing I'll just kind of pause here as well. When we do this and we bring partners on, we give them full transparency to be, you can maintain your business the way you're running it now. We've got multiple partners. We just signed an exclusive deal with Huey, Hawaii Unified, the largest installer out in Hawaii. They just did a 3-year agreement with Powur, because not only can they come in and help, things like this, save time and money, but he gets to completely keep control of his brand. And that's a big piece that most companies, I was actually, some of you may know, we were in the company Precis. If you've ever driven up the is it the 10 or 15? Anyways, whichever road it is down there in Temecula, you're driving on the freeway, you see this big SunPower by Precis. SunPower went out of business. They got this giant SunPower thing on there. I just met with him last week, and he's coming onto the Powur platform. And, you know, he had some things that that took him a little while to pull the trigger, because he had legal things that he was dealing with SunPower, and he was trying to figure out. Last week he fully committed, and the reason why he fully committed to it is because he gets to completely maintain his brand. Precis will still be a name that's out in the marketplace, but he's going to use Powur as the platform. We are the distributed network platform for sales and all of the onboarding and the sales success. We already have that, but we're also the construction management company. We can help facilitate, because he actually, we call it in the corporate world a RIF. They had to do a reduction in force at Precis because it was tough. And so he's like, man, Powur gives me a couple of extra employees that I had to get rid of to help manage my projects. So we have project managers inside as well. End-to-end fulfillment. And I'll share this deck with you guys. I'm kind of going through it fast because I really want to get into like just more of the Q&A part of this. But to kind of give you guys a peace of mind of like everything's handled. Like other than their payroll and them carrying insurance and them having like actual boots on the ground, like Powur is the platform that gives them the business in the box. It's the one area that, and what's interesting, let me just kind of share a thought here. Those of you that may know, there was a company that did something very similar called Quativa. They were a company out there trying to build something, a big, nationalized platform, and they put the investors first. So they went out and raised a bunch of money. Lumio did the very similar thing, right? They raised a bunch of money and said, we're going to take over the marketplace by building this platform. But the problem was, it was investor-led. It wasn't founder-led. And as any of you guys know, Jonathan, being, a founder-led company here, Jonathan Budd, the CEO here, he is leading the charge here. And he is always putting the customer, you guys as a sales rep, and our installers first, before any of the investors. And so that's why our platform is working so well. So you may come across someone that's an installer that you want to talk to about this that said, oh, this sounds like something that's happened already. Well, this is the money on our books is actually profit. It's not investors, right? The other companies that were out there, they went and got investors, put a bunch of money in the bank, and then tried to build something. Powur built something from the scratch and then built up with our profits. And we've got a $35 million platform that we've invested money into that gives the partner the ability to grow and scale. And it's full end to end, everything from sales, project fulfillment, all the way to O&M. Got a couple of things here. Obviously, this is the part that I love is we're working with a company called Team Sunshine up in the Northeast right now. They're coming on as an enterprise, and they're like, Brady, we want to build the Northeast. We want to be the best installer for Powur in the Northeast. Great. That's going to be awesome. Then he came to me and said, oh man, I just got this lead from a sales team out in Chicago. And I'm like, perfect, put them on the platform. We can help you build out there. And they're like, well, we don't want to build out there. No problem. We bring that sales team on, and now guess what? They're getting L1 overrides on every single deal that's sold in Illinois, and they have nothing to do with the building of it, but they're an install company. So it gives them the ability to come onto our platform and not only perfect their craft where they're at, but they can go recruit and build sales teams in all different areas. And that's what we want you guys to think of in your pitch to these installers. It's like, hey, instead of putting, you're in Temecula right now, instead of opening an office up in NorCal where they've got business, let Powur do those installs, and you'll still get the same profit margin as you would, because you're not only having to manage all the people up in NorCal, but you're also having to house a building. You're having all these overhead costs. Just tap into Powur's network. And when you get to a point when the profits are good and you've built up a big enough backlog, sure, then you can go open an office there. But instead of having expansion that costs money and then trying to make profits, you can expand, make profits, and then expand, right? Like you can expand your sales team and then follow up in another area where you may want to build. So lots of opportunity in the enterprise program. Obviously, you can go to all 23 states. I'm just kind of going through a little bit of this. Diverse financing, we kind of talked about that with Powur. You've got access to all of our finance products. They just tap right in. Obviously, you guys know all of our products that we offer, all the, the hard good costs. And this is a big one. The reason why I like this one is because remember that story about Titan. When I'm sitting across the table, I'm buying panels, and this was back, again, 2019. I'm buying panels at like 45 cents a watt, and they're buying them at 39 cents a watt. So 10 cents a watt cheaper, and we're using the same product, right? Well, with Powur, and that's because my volume was this, Titan's volume was this, right? Like it just didn't, like I didn't have the scale that they had. And so I couldn't compete sometimes at the kitchen table. With Powur, with our cost of goods model, you can always use our cost of goods at a lower price. This is a big one. I'm going through this. Some of you guys probably just saw the announcement or the press release with Prolux, a new sales org that just came in. They were really big in Illinois, and they're building all their own products. These guys were, I'm not going to call them rogue sales guys or door-to-door guys, but they've had a pretty loose, onboarding process. And the one thing that these guys kept saying was, man, is there a way that we can, just bring guys on and make sure that they're compliant? Because, in Illinois, you have to have, if you're doing, can you guys still hear me? I got something popped up on my screen saying that. Okay, go on. They were just like, man, we just really want to make sure that our guys get trained properly. And we said, perfect, go into knowledge base in the university and like train the teams. And like all of a sudden they're like, and excuse my French, but like, holy shit, like we can actually train our guys to be compliant, and we know that they're selling the right way. So what I wanted to share there is like, you could go find yourself, as you're kind of thinking about this, about installers that you may know. You may have an installer that only does 5 deals a month on their own. Great. Bring them onto the platform. You may have a partner that's doing 200 like Prolux. Great. We can still support that. And imagine if you're the one that recruits them, and they're doing 200 a month. Those are overrides directly to you. Every single time they make a sale, every time they hit the install on the roof, you're making some money. And honestly, like that's been a big shift for some of our installers. The one thing I'll share here is that the world-class training and certification, that's just not Powur. And I'm looking at my screen that's over on here. That's just not Powur that is involved. We want every single one of you to be involved with the trainings, because sometimes these partners say, well, why is this guy getting override? Because he's going to be there, or she. They're going to be there and they're going to hold your hand, and they're going to be they're going to help your sales team, and they're going to make sure that you understand the platform and are successful here. So we want you to know that when you bring someone on, and I'm looking at Jarrett and Tom and Jonathan who've already referred some people over. Something that we just implemented this week, because the onboarding has been a little bit clunky, and the only reason the onboarding was a little clunky is because we would tell the partners that they have to submit their certifications, their insurance, and all this stuff. But we were leaving the person that referred the sales or the self-gen, self-fulfilling installer. We were communicating with them saying, hey, we need all this. We need all this. We just implemented this week that now when you refer something, you'll be on all communications to that partner. So you'll know, hey, you're just missing a Tesla certification. We can't turn you on to the system until you've submitted that. So that's a huge win. You guys will have full transparency in that. When you refer someone, you'll know where your partner is in the process. But when it comes to training, like we want you to be involved. It's not a refer someone, get them on the platform, and you just make money. It literally has to be like a sale. You have to sell them on the platform and sell them why they would want to come here. And I've kind of hit some of those, but you'll also want to get into, into their office and train their people on the platform. Get into, go into the home with the sellers. Like if you're making money on every single deal, like have them call you. If you're a virtual seller, have them call you when they're in the home. If you can go on a ride along with them because they're a local installer that go on some ride alongs, because as we know, some of these partners, change for salespeople, change for anyone, but change for salespeople is a big adjustment. Change for business owners is a big adjustment. And so we got to hold their hands a little bit, because just you're changing the sales process, going from a red line model to a COGS model. That's a change. So the ones that hold their hands the most and are in there just like you are with sellers, right? Like every 3 days, just following up with the homeowner. It's the same thing with the business owner. Follow up with them, send them your link, get them signed up, and then follow up, make sure that they have everything that they need. Now, Powur is going to also support them as well. But we've got the proposal to kind of hit all of this. So these are all things that you're going to have, sent to you guys, but I'm just kind of hitting some of the PowerPoint. I'm going to keep it short. They can customize their own comp plan. This is a big one that a lot of, organizations, like just taking out them. I can't tell you how many hours a week I used to spend in front of the computer, seeing how much I got paid from my lender. And then I had it paid at install. And so I would have to go in and calculate all my commissions. And I was doing it all myself. And I was the one zelling them or sending it. I didn't have an e-wallet. I was having to do all of that. And so I was spending probably 40 hours a week on working with all my vendors. I was probably spending 15 to 20 hours a week on working with, making sure my installs and everything was going proper. And, we had, enough money on the gas cards and all the things. And then on top of that, I had to do commissions every Thursday and Friday. Powur takes all that out. Like, you don't have to think about that. It's just, again, as a business owner, it's just you're reducing. Like, how many business owners out there would rather be golfing? All of us, right? Like, we would rather be golfing and have more time freed up on our calendar, but you can't, because in the solar space, there's so many moving pieces that you've got to be doing. Some guys have good accountants, some guys have, their own controllers and things like that, but they're still in there every single day looking at this stuff. With Powur, we take care of that. Take care of your comp. This is having project visibility has the ability to allow them to move away from their CRM that they're currently working with. So another subscription cost reduced. Project services, you guys all know this. Co-branding, I know you guys probably all are using the co-branding. They can also keep full transparency of their branding, Prolux, Huey, Team Sunshine, like they're all using the co-branding. And when they pitch in the home, they're using their name and Powur's name together. So this is what we're looking at right now. So when you're in talking to someone, for $350 a month, they're getting on to the enterprise platform, and it's $50 per seated seller. Remember, I was spending $9,000 a month just to run my company with subscription costs and proposals and everything. It's $350 a month, $50 a user, and they have access to all the things and a business in a box, and they can be fully going. And most installers right now are looking for ways to cut cost. You can't really cut cost on hard goods. So that's modules, inverters, racking, the wire. Those are hard costs as a company. Soft costs are the cost of, subscriptions, the proposal tools, like all the things that you just have to pay that you could either reduce subscription or not have that tool. Well, most of us all want the tools because it makes us better in the home. It makes us more efficient. It creates faster cycle times, the more visibility. Powur has that literally all on our platform. So key takeaways. Powur is in a position. I'm gonna actually, when I talk about Powur's financial health and stability, I was talking to Mike. He's our CED rep down in Riverside. And I said, Mike, I'm in this enterprise program now. I'm fully running it. What's the average credit line of an installer doing about 50 installs a month? And he said, I'm going to take away the 50 installs. The average installer right now has they come in with a $50,000 credit line. That's not even one job. Barely, right? Like, that's barely one job a month. The average right now is about $150,000 is the credit line for your average installer. So that will be like maybe, I don't know, 5 jobs a month is hard costs, right? Like, that's all of the costs, the shipping to the home, all those things. $150,000. Do you know that Powur has a $17 million credit line with CED right now? That's a big difference. Do you know that when you go through Powur and get a job scheduled on the install, the installer never has to order that product to their account again? So if they have a $50,000 credit line, and that's the biggest they have, that means most of the time they're swiping a credit card and their credit line is through Amex or through, Visa or whoever it is that they're using. They're swiping. And so they're paying interest on that, or hopefully they're paying off in time, but most of the time they're not. I've seen plenty of P&Ls, remember. But you're accessing Powur's credit line, so we get the product and ship it to them. The access to our TPO, most TPO products right now, they're not extending terms or offers to anyone. If they do, it's going to be a very low payout to the sellers, and so most people don't offer TPO right now. You control the install. You have the sales platform, project management, procurement. That's a big one I was just talking about. Soft cost, and then sell in any market for expansion. And then I'll just kind of leave this one. We do have this calculator on here now. You can go in, take a look. Just was doing this one. We'll use the Bay Area because I heard that one a little bit ago. We're using let's just use a 10.2 kilowatt. Let's use the IQ8s. We don't have batteries on here right now, just because every market and things like that is different. But let's just say you're selling it at $4 a watt. Your effective red line to the partner is $246. Most partners right now, they offer all of their salespeople right around, and this is Bay Area. So if you were to look at, cost sheet, our install cost for the Bay Area is a little bit higher. If I change that to Central Valley, California, $220. Very, very competitive. And remember, the installer is making 90, they're making whatever their MSA price is. So that 90 cents a watt still going in their pocket. So when we talk about this 220 red line, remember, they're going to take out what their MSA pricing is. So we give every partner an MSA based on, their region and regional cost. And so this 220 may not actually be a 220 to them. That's a 220 to the rep, right? They're still making the 80, 90 cents on the base install and cost. They're still making the cost of the MPU. They're still making the money. That is still going to their books. And so, anyways, I'll close with that. Go in and play with these tools. I'll grab the link right now and throw it in to the sheet. It's one's
awesome. Yeah.
So,
Thanks for sharing that spreadsheet, Brady. A few closing thoughts here as we move to Q&A, and please type any questions in the chat. First of all, I hope you guys realize why I'm excited about this and I love this content. If you took anything away, it's just how badass our company and our decentralized model and the future of this platform is. And to hear Brady communicate on all these different fronts, I mean, holy cow. There's so many reasons why an installer that are struggling right now would want to partner with us, why this company is set up for success, and the future of the industry and what we can offer is just, we're already light years ahead of anyone. So I'm just super excited and thankful for you, Brady, and this information. So give him some love in the chat. Let's talk about next steps. So obviously people can attend Powur Calendar Enterprise Training Workshop every Tuesday. If they're speaking to an installer, they can use their leadership, send them some assets. At what point would they involve their leadership or even bring you into the fold? And I think there's a brand new Partner With Us website that was sent out on the newsletter yesterday. So what would be next steps for someone trying to communicate to an installer potentially?
always start with your link first. I'm going to throw a link into the chat, but always start with your link, because when we had this SunPower rush, SunPower went under. Within 2 days, we were sitting in front of, as many SunPower dealers as we can. And we had a few people that, oh, I referred so-and-so. And it's like, well, they signed up under that link because everybody was it was a madhouse. So I would just start with, please go in and make sure that you're sharing your link for them to join Enterprise, because that will automatically tag them to you. We go through and take a look at that. But there is a Work With Us page, which I'm going to post that in here.
I saw that. It looks pretty new. So it's at the bottom of powur.com. If you read your newsletter, at the very bottom, guys, you can click on Partner with Powur. And it'll describe some of the benefits Brady talked about, and then they can fill out a short little survey. And of course, they're going to put who referred them to Powur, how did they hear about us? And they can put in your information if you don't send them your direct link.
And so I'll share that with that link, that it goes to our Monday board. As some of you guys probably know, Paris at Powur here, awesome dude. Right now, we actually just did a quick little thing because, you know, some partners were saying, oh, I didn't get it. You know, it couldn't get onboarded fast enough. And it was like, actually, here's all the communication we had with you. And that's why we're going to start involving every single person that refers someone to Powur. We're gonna CC you on every single email, so you know, hey, we're just waiting on certification. But right now, Paris, within a day, so within 24 hours, he reaches out to that partner with, hey, we received your intake. He's typically calling and texting them. We found text to be the best so far, because owners are doing 1.5 million things. They're driving to this job site, they're sitting this inspection, and so we're communicating through the text. Typically, it's about 24 hours until we can contact them. We get on a deeper dive, kind of, what do you call it? Like a discovery call, and we go over kind of the next steps, and we send them an email with all the things that they have to submit to us. Once we have that and all their certifications, we put them onto an onboarding call, and we train them everything OS, which is the back-end operating system for all the jobs. Put them onto OS. Once they're in there and they meet their local ROM and project manager 4, then we basically say, hey, go sell your first deal. Once they sell the first deal, we put them with a project manager, and that project manager is basically just walking them. We're hand holding them on their first 5 projects. We just want to make this a very seamless process. So
I want to speak to the 2 things you said there too, Brady. Just to reemphasize, guys, this is self-fulfilling installers. Powur will not give their current job flow to the installer at this time. We're looking for self-fulfilling installers that can bring their own sales to the platform and install in their area. So I really want to stress that. Another big takeaway is we do not want to take away from their brand, their reputation, their name. Like Brady said, that's a big point to bring up as well. Point number 3 I want to bring up is how freaking thorough, if they're a good fit, this intake form is that Paris and Brady will share. But guys, we want to look at their bankroll. We want to look at their insurance certifications. Their truck insurance needs to be a certain level. Their licenses, their OSHA certifications. We want to make sure they're certified in batteries. This is the level that we expect of our installers if they're going to be under our license, which I love seeing. Now, not all installers have that stuff dialed. They're a little bit rough around the edges. So we kind of have to help massage them and get them going to get to this standard. And it's going to be better for them, better for our industry, and better for the platform.
You know, Brian posed a quick question there, and I'll just answer it live here, but absolutely. But in the states that we're currently in is what we're looking at first. If you do have a partner that is doing substantial business in a market that we're not currently in, so give me an example. I just noticed on the blog the other day, they mentioned Wisconsin. We're not even in Wisconsin, but they've got a great incentive. If we find the right partner that has the ability to bring volume today and partner with Powur on our platform, we will. That's my role as well, is to look at different markets that we could potentially open up. We're not looking to open up all markets. Obviously, we look at every value prop and where it makes the most sense, what partners we can bring in there as far as financing options. Like if there's not a finance option in there, it doesn't really make sense for us to open a market. So we look at all of those. So if you do have someone that's in, I'll just tell you, don't bring me anyone in Georgia, please. Georgia's not on the list, but everywhere else, like, yeah, we're absolutely looking at that. The only reason I bring that up with Georgia is because HOAs are worse than the utilities and the AHJs out there. It's the worst in the country. So anyways, but we are willing to look at other markets. We were just looking at the Pacific Northwest for Q1. We still are looking at it, but if you've got someone that's doing their own self gen and self fulfill, yeah, bring them. Like, we will talk to anyone. But right now, just to make it easy on you guys, if you are going to look nationwide, work with the states that we're currently in, because I don't want you wasting time on enterprise and bringing people in that's not going to put money in your pocket today, right? Like these ones that take months or a year to fulfill. It's like a big commercial project. We're all in Resi because Resi, I can make money today. Commercial takes so long. So please work on something that's going to bring you volume today.
2 questions, Brady, for you. One a little bit higher. Little solar brother said, for a roof solar installer, what can we tell them about how much they will make on a job compared to their margins installing before putting it through Powur? And I think that speaks to a common question I have for you sometimes is installers might say, oh, I make more doing it myself, rah, rah. So what would you tell that question?
So I don't, it's not a canned answer. I built this spreadsheet. I'm working with a partner in Southern California right now. Basically, this is the questionnaire that I go through with them. I say, hey, send me what you're dealing with today. I get all of their BOM or bill of materials, and I figure out what their cost of materials is. What's your labor rate? What's your BOS, balance of system? And I calculate everything. I have a whole calculator that we built. The reason I bring this up is because there is no answer on what margin this. I mean, you can use the Redline model, the COGS whichever one that website was. I can't remember all the time, but whatever we posted in the link there, use that as a starting point. But this is where I get into it and I say, okay, what are you paying? What's your red line to the reps? What's your equipment cost? What's your labor and BOS? What's your right now your install margin? Every installer thinks that they make 48 cents a watt or whatever that number is. What I do is I do their comparison and say, all right, you're going to make $9,800 on in-house. Great. And so this calculator puts it out. All said and done on a job that was a 12.5 kilowatt. This was not battery. Battery is really similar, but just to keep the mathing and easy. On a 12 kilowatt system, 4.125 or 4.12 price per watt. This installer is going to be making $1,800 more with Powur than they would if they were to bring in to do it on their own. And that's not even including subscription cost. That's not even including all the things that we just talked about. So using our platform, this installer that I'm doing this scenario in Southern California, they're going to make $1,800 more a job just by using Powur's platform. So the reason I left that as more long-winded is because I do a whole scenario in helping you to, I help close the deal, but helping you get that customer or installer across the line. So I've got all the tools, and it comes from personal experience. I know what pinpoints I can get on a call with an owner, and I can quickly have a conversation with them because I've done it myself. I've been on the manufacturer side, and that's all I used to do is just sit with installers all day. I can start hearing the pain points of that installer. If it's time that they want back, if it's their credit lines are not big enough, if it's they just don't want to manage commissions, if it's they want to just grow and they don't know how to go to that, I can hear that and I can pull it in. Just like when you guys are at the home, right? We look around the house. Oh, he's got this, he's got that. I'm going to talk about that a little more because I can build relationship. That's what I do on the enterprise side is it's a relationship piece. They have to feel comfortable coming in. And so I spend a lot of time with them on that side of it.
I love
Very
it.
passionate about it, obviously.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. Let's see. We'll do 1 or 2 more, guys, and we have to jump here in a second. Someone says, do they have to exclusively work with Powur, or they can still continue to do their jobs and just add Powur to their portfolio?
Yeah, I mean it's a slippery slope when they like if they want to come and test out the product, absolutely. If we've had a few that said, oh yeah, we'll put a couple deals in, and then all of a sudden they're like, okay, where's my jobs? Like that's we're not looking for preferred partners. So sometimes they sneak in, but most partners we know aren't going to give us 100% of their business today. We hope that we wow them, pay them well, and pay them on time and take away a couple headaches. Most of the time, they quickly start turning their business over to us. That's why we just got 2 big businesses that are going exclusive for a 3-year partnership. So that's huge. You'll hear a little bit more about that on the investor call tomorrow too. Why those 3-year exclusive partnerships are so crucial. There is no forecasting in the industry, and this is a way that we can start saying like, no, we've got these exclusive partnerships. So
yeah, between Hawaii and Prolux that you help accomplish, I mean, hats off to you guys. Perfect segue to wrap this up and just say the shareholders meeting tomorrow night is going to just take some of this stuff and run even farther with Jonathan Budd. Brady, if someone wants to get your contact info, is it the weekly training? Is it your email, or what would you recommend?
I'll post it in here. I'm gonna post my email, and then I like you guys, so I'm gonna post my phone number. I'll say text is best. I just got back from some hiking up in the wilderness. Got a little snow on me, and I'm catching back up. So yeah, definitely if you got someone and you got questions, I threw it in there. You can definitely reach out to me.
Attend the Powur Calendar training, work with your leadership, look at assets, resources, and yeah, use that text extremely sparingly. So, disclosure. Well, Brady, thank you guys. Give Brady some love in the chat, y'all. We need to hop off here in a minute, but this was awesome training, Brady. You had a lot of props a little higher in the chat. So we appreciate your time and everything you're doing to continue to take Powur to the next level.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Brady. Appreciate you, brother.
Yeah.
All right.